Neuralink's goal is to help paralysis patients communicate by connecting their brain to a computer.
The device is designed to interpret your neural activity so you can operate a computer or a smartphone by simply thinking.
People paralyzed from stroke, from traumatic brain injury, or a spinal cord injury could see the benefits.
This would be a major.
Did you know that you can pay with your thoughts? There are a few different ways that brain-computer interfaces can be used to make payments. One approach would be to use a brain-computer interface to control a virtual wallet. The user will first need to load their virtual wallet with money. Then, when they wanted to make a payment, they could simply think about the amount of money they wanted to pay and the recipient of the payment. Another approach would be to use a brain-computer interface to control a physical payment device, such as a credit card reader or a smartphone. Lastly, Elon Musk originally created the company PayPal. In 1999, he co-founded X.com, an online financial services company. Now, in 2022, Musk announced that he was working on a new virtual wallet and would allow users to store and spend cryptocurrency.
Thread that when we stimulate causes a flexion movement of the leg. The company demonstrated the ability of its implants to stimulate
brain signals, so signals from their motor cortex that we pull out of wires into our system, and our computers then decode what it is that the monkey is intending to do, and drive the endpoint of this arm forward and backward and around through space. The monkeys have brain control over this robotic arm to move it forward and grab a piece of fruit as it's presented, and then bring it back to their mouth to feed themselves.
Incredible as it may seem, these monkeys learned to feed themselves with a robot arm that was being directly controlled by their brains, as if it was simply part of them.
Yeah, she shuffles around, touches her snout on the ground, or you kind of feed her some food. Pigs love food. Then you can see the neurons will fire much more than.
There was a woman who was suffering from severe depression, and she described herself as being at the end of her life, like no longer in a life worth living. And neuroscientists and physicians were able to use electrical stimulation in the brain to reset that brain activity, like a pacemaker for the brain, that enabled her to recover her will to live, to overcome depression and have a typical range of emotions instead.
Wow.
That's pretty extraordinary.
That's extraordinary because right now the disciplines of neuroscience and psychology are rather different.
Yes.
And they're separate.
Yes.
And what you've given an example of is using neuroscience to try to tackle something that would have traditionally just.
Allegedly, Elon Musk's Neuralink brain chip technology can improve the following: neurological disorders as autism, schizophrenia, memory loss. The implant can reverse engineer the symptoms. Also, similarly to the Matrix in dreams, you can train an autistic person to be sociable via role-playing scenarios in dreams. Allegedly, as well, it can restore your eyesight.
The possibility now is to develop different kinds of devices that could be perhaps used either by intelligence people or by people in the military to have an extra ability to be able to see through walls, to see heartbeats. We used to play with the 18 gigahertz microwave detectors where we could pick up heartbeats through anything but solid steel and water.
Thread that when we stimulate causes a flexion movement of the leg. The company demonstrated the ability of its implants to stimulate movement.
As you can see,
in human-to-human brain communication, one person can be in the room and control the other person's hand. The person can feel either someone, it might feel like a phantom is holding their hand, or they can move the hand, or they can feel a person kissing their hand. And it feels like when a doctor takes a hammer and hits the person's knee, you automatically have that reflex. It doesn't hurt at all. It feels similar to that.
Moving, the hand could punch in a code. The hand could do a number of things. But the really fun part was that you're taking over somebody else's physical body with the mind of another human.
A true fact. A neural prosthetics researcher at Duke University named Miguel had been working on the interface between brain signals and electronics in 2003, and he was able to get his monkey, Aurora, to correctly control a robotic arm with her brain from 7,000 miles away. A mystery of who done it.
Well, the side of the brain that the first aneurysm is on controls your ability to speak. And I thought, why in the hell didn't they tell me this before the '88 campaign? It could have saved us all a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? Now I'm going down to the second operation, 4 months later. And because it's on the other side of my head. And this is not about me, but it's about the truth. They put together the same crew. As you know, they always want the same anesthesiologist, the same team if they've done an operation on you. And so there was a great guy named Dr. Hart, military. He had been transferred from Reed down to Texas. And they brought him back. And he's the anesthesiologist, and I'm going down. Now, this operation had a 98% chance because it hadn't bled at all. They told me this was going to be. And so, trying to make me feel better, the doc, kidding the neurosurgeon, looked at me and looked down at me and said, Senator, do you know why neurosurgeons have the biggest egos in medicine? I said, no, I don't know. He said, who in the hell else would go into the brain with such confidence knowing as little as they know about it? And I thought about that for a second and decided to stop thinking about it. But all kidding aside, there's so much we don't know. So much we don't know. And Patrick Kennedy and I believe the same way. The possibilities are immense. We don't know what they are. They're immense. And that's why the president has asked for $100 million to launch a new initiative to map the human brain. Truly the last frontier.